hymen doesn't really look like that. The hymen looks like more like a scrunchie, and you're like, what? So it was almost that roll back thing, and again, what they talked about. And these were two med students, two Norwegian med students, I believe, and what they talked about was that how they had 38 women that they had tested to see if the hymen was still intact.
After
And out of
pregnancy?
the after they were pregnant, mind you,
Mhm.
and the 38 of the 38, the doctors only found two that supposedly were not intact.
Like 36 virgin birds?
So there are 36, people that are saying, what is it, immaculate conception. So that's that's impossible. So what we're talking about today is, and you all know, because this is something that has gone on in our society. This is something that has gone on in different societies, and people have been killed over this. Women have been killed over the so-called hymen intact. And I think for me, the part that pissed me off the most was the fact that the doctors have known this for 100 years. And yet we still, even I actually saw something on Tyrant, one of these series on FX, I believe, and the guy had to check his new daughter-in-law to make sure her hymen was still in place. So I'm like, we're even putting this in the movies.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And we think about Princess Diana, we think about all this. So what is that? Where did the BS come from? And then again, it always relates back to, why is there so much attention on women's body parts as opposed to the male? And what is that?
I am so glad I'm here this morning to have a part of
Defend
this
the
discussion,
male?
because when you say you're going in this direction this morning, I took time to go look at this documentary.
Yeah.
I watched it in depth last night, and it was extremely interesting. Some stuff I already knew, but some stuff I was was just new to me as well. I'm a doctor. And it really blew my mind, because again, from my perspective at least, I recognize that this is just another method of controlling women. That's what it came to. That's what it came to. And it's sad that men perpetuate it, but also some women are guilty of perpetuating the same thing.
Well, do you think it's just lack of, and I'm gonna ask all of you, like, okay, so first maybe Darren, what do you think of this process?
Well, good morning, Charlene and everybody. I've understood this to be definitely a method of control over women's sexuality and women's bodies,
Absolutely.
and just another way of saying that women somehow have something to prove, or are held to some different standard, and it's just ridiculous. I knew some of that. I did watch the documentary after you sent it to me, Charlene. And some of it I did know, because I went to this presentation years ago by the FBI about sexual assault and trafficking and so forth here on St. Croix. And part of what they discussed was how difficult it can be to determine whether someone's been raped or sexually abused through examination. And so that was one of the things that they had talked about. So I knew a little bit of it, but definitely I can see how patriarchy has been the system. It is part of the patriarchal system, and proving that somehow you are pure, or whatever it is that they